It's another weekly, I don't even know if I'm going to do this weekly or not. It's another Wednesday live stream. Lunchtime live stream. Today, I decided to do again, ooh, gross. To do again, but maybe want to do this in the first place. We'll cook some fish. The reason I started doing this in the first place was didn't have anything made for lunch, so I needed to make my lunch because I'm too cheap to go buy. Power on. Yeah, it's power. Yeah, she's getting hot. I can't stand it when people want to try to microwave fish in the break room. I mean, gross. Just why does it smell like unwashed foot? So I've got some salmon and some asparagus. I'm just going to throw that together real quick. And on the salmon, I've got just some salt because I forgot the lime juice, unfortunately. Yeah, there we go. This stuff's expensive. But it's not as expensive as eating out. This is Atlantic salmon from Chile somehow. I'm trying to get my geometry right. Can't remember exactly where Chile is. I thought Chile was down the Pacific side, or does it loop all the way around? I don't know. My geometry is all fuzzy. A little bit of oil on the pan just for some, increase the contact patch, and before the oil runs away, the fish on there. Shouldn't take very long. I told you a story about the umbrella. I don't know as I've told you the story of the truck the umbrella is in. I bought it brand new in 2001. At the time I bought it, I had can't make it what I'm doing. I had a Mustang GT. It's got some asparagus. Throw that on there. Get that going at the same time. And being involved with the Scouts, Boy Scouts like I was at the church, I moved to Florida for my Scout troop in Florida, which is pretty well supported. I moved to Florida and the church there, and their Scout troop was basically dead. And they asked me to be involved in it. And they made me all kinds of promises. Parental involvement, involvement from all the leaders. And yeah, so they got me and they got another young guy who just got back from his mission. The Mustang's effectively a two-seater unless you're paraplegic or midget. You're really not going to fit anybody of any meaningful size in the back seat. And Barry drove a 1980 something BMW 3 Series, 318, something like 320, I don't remember. Same story on that, you couldn't really get people in the back seat. So we told them, so this is what we got. We're going to need help with transporting these kids to and from, and they're your kids. You guys need to be showing up. So yeah, they made all these promises for us, and got the troop running, got everybody going, got everybody excited. So let's go on an outing. Let's go to somewhere out near Kissimmee, I guess. I don't remember. So we got that planned out. So Sunday, I asked the church leadership, I said, hey, we've got this outing planned. We've got a bunch of kids, 10 of them, I think. And we've got transportation space for 6 of them. So we're going to need some help. And dude looked me straight in the eye. Now, I remember exactly where I was sitting. Sitting there on the couch in the foyer. The dude looked me straight in the eye. Said, you need to sell that Mustang and buy yourself a van. And you talk about devastating to someone that's had invested in and cares that much about the organization to have been straight up deceived like that. But being as I was fully invested in the organization, I went to Winter Haven Ford. Actually, Jeep Liberty's just come out, and I thought, hey, that's actually a cool looking thing. I can do some stuff to make that look a little more butch than it is. Went and drove one of those. The girl I was dating at the time, we were just doing stuff together, so she went with me wherever I went to test drive this thing. And driving it around the Winter Haven, Lake Wales area, in between, I don't even remember. We roll up to a stoplight after driving for 5-10 minutes on this big loop. And I could see the light was red from a good distance. So okay, I'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and start downshifting and get ready to apply the brakes when I get closer. Slow down on the clutch. And my left foot is frantically trying to find the clutch in an unfamiliar vehicle, while my right hand is frantically trying to figure out how to make the gear shift. I think it was a floor shift. I was trying to figure out how to make it grab another gear. And complete panic set in and embarrassment, and at the last second I realized it's an automatic, and applied the brakes. I just can't drive an automatic. It's driving me up the wall. But yeah, complete panic. The cargo area in the Liberty, fortunately, wasn't up to the standard, because I told the salesman, I need to be able to put at least 5 people in here, and backpacks, big backpacks, for backpacking in the cargo area. And he said, oh yeah, it'll do it. So he showed me all the features, and opened up the boot, and the boot in a Liberty is probably 8-10 inches deep. You can probably fit 1 pack in there, floor to ceiling, with taking up all the space. And I told the salesman, that's not going to hold 4 packs. He said, yeah, I got you. He folded the seat down and folded it forward, and doubled the cargo area. Still really small. He said, there you go, that's all you got to do. That's okay. Where am I going to put the other 3 people? Strap them to the roof. So fortunately, I did not buy that Liberty. Wow, that's vibrating. Because, yeah, that would have been an awful decision. A couple days, weeks later, I go by Winter Haven Ford, just right up the street from where I lived at the time, and walk in. I'm interested in an F-150 Super Cab. Dude's like, I got you. So we walk out there, and it's this beautiful bright red Super Cab. It's got the suicide doors front on both sides, so that open the whole thing up, whole cab up, and comfortably fit 5 people, 5 smallish people, 6 in a pinch. And it was manual, and it was V6. But we couldn't get it out right then. there was an identical one sitting right next to it. It's kind of a weird burgundy color over Arizona beige or tan, I think they called it. That might be the interior. I don't remember. This is taking a while to cook for some reason. I thought this would go quicker than this. Anyway, that one was in the way of the red one. So, identically equipped. Salesman like, let's take this one. I went and got the keys, fire it up, go driving around, rode like a truck, acting like a truck. So we get talking, and I haggled them down from the $25,000 price, and they offered me a good price on my Mustang, which was mint. I wound up, I think it cost me, the amount of interest I paid, I think it's around $1,000 I wound up having to pay that it cost me in interest over the year to drive that Mustang, because they paid me almost exactly what I paid to buy the thing in Alabama. So I had a choice. So did I want the red one, which I wanted, because it was now free, because the dark chestnut was the color of the one I test drove. So do I want that one or do I want the red one? So we get talking and talking and talking. Did some haggling, horse trading, and the reason I wound up with the dark chestnut over Arizona beige, Arizona tan, whatever, with the tan interior, Southern edition, the V6, 5-speed air conditioning, power windows, power locks, everything you need in a late model car. Dark chestnut one was $85 cheaper. That's how I wound up with this 2001 F-150 I've got now, that I've had 22 years now. Its birthday is in August, actually. A boy in his truck, bone stock, 2-wheel drive. Of course, I could not leave well enough alone. I'm going to pull these off so they burn, because that salmon is just taking forever. I'll throw them back on to throw some heat into them. And me and this truck have been through a lot. Been back and forth across the country a number of times. Driven it around the country a number of times. It's got 200,000 miles on it. And everything else I own is broken. I take this. 3,000 miles, no problem. All day long. Just a comfortable cruiser. I remember one time I was in Miramar, which is it's an invented town in South Florida. It's west of Miami. It's all city planned out with industrial areas, city planned out with residential areas and apartments. But I was there working, living in Winter Haven, working in Miami 2 days a week, and tropical depression came in. It's just going to rain a lot and be windy. It's like, I need to get out of this part of town because it's low-lying and it's prone to flooding. It started raining so hard that it was climbing up and over a viaduct that was really steep. And I was driving through like 2 inches of water running across the road on a steep incline. Wow, that's a lot of water. So I get into the low-lying area headed for the interstate, and they're starting to close off the roads. And I'm driving through. It felt like a lot of water. It's probably only 5 or 6 inches deep. But then I can see them bringing barricades out, ready to close off the road that leads to the interstate, and any of the roads leading basically into that area, which I was in, and I needed to get out. And the National Guard was there in their Hummers, and they were getting ready to try to close that road I was on. And I wasn't about to be stuck in Miami for another night, especially because there would have been nowhere for me to go because all the hotels were booked up because of the tropical storm, all the people stuck. So I waded this truck into water that was up to the top of its tires, two-wheel drive, open diff. I knew where my air cleaner was, so I wasn't that worried about it. The guardsmen weren't happy with me, so they kind of, they were shouting at me, and couldn't hear them. I could just see them waving, shouting. And it quit raining because one of the bands had come through, so it's nice and clear. It's a little bit of weird sun coming in. And the water was really deep, and you could see like the fountains of it being sucked into the storm drain, or the little whirlpools where it was being sucked in the storm drains. So I knew where the sides of the road were. So I just dropped it down into first and made a nice little bow wave in front of me, and they hopped in their Hummer and started coming after me. It's like the barricades weren't up. I didn't see that I was doing anything wrong. And after I made it block and a half, kind of looked back, and the Hummer stopped, and they're turning around and going back. They didn't want anything to do with it. So I made it out of Miami. Thank goodness. Miami is actually a really cool town. Like everybody I talk to, just random dudes on the street. Guys like, stop at the light. There's a guy walking down the side of the road and he waved at me. He walked down to the road, walked up the side of my truck. He's like, "Hey man, I saw you pass here like a couple of times already. You lost?" I said, "Yeah, I don't have any clue where I am. I'm looking for so-and-so business, so-and-so street and address. All I had was paper maps that weren't very well laid out and marked." He's like, "Oh man, I used to work there. This is what you do. You go this way, go this way, go this way, and it'll be kind of behind another business back there. It's kind of hard to find. And if you can't find it, just come back here. I probably won't make it very far. I'm just walking. I'm not in any hurry, and come find me, and we'll figure it out on your map." All right. So his directions worked. He's super nice guy. It's like the kind of guy most people would cross the street to avoid talking to. What else have I gotten into with this truck? All kinds of silliness and craziness. I think everything was broken. The Audi wasn't acting right, the Bronco transmission wasn't working right, so for this thing I took off on power tour, trying to be in like 2,800 miles or something like that. Something ridiculous. That's just salt. And I put cayenne on it. Put a little cayenne on it. It's hot. Salmon is almost done. Remember, I was having a tough time at work, tough time in general. So my buddy Bunger reached out. He's like, "Hey, let's go hang out. I've got this thing I'm doing in Tennessee." I said, "Well, the Audi's not acting right. Bronco's not acting right. F-150 is desperately in need of tires because they're all hard and dry rotted. They're 12-something years old." So hopped on the internet and did the thing, and with the thing, and I found some tires and some rims and ordered them. Figured I'll have them shipped in, already assembled, because the tires I was running, they're too wide for the factory rims, so they balloon out and they wear weird. So I ordered some rims, and they shipped them to the shop, and I put them on the truck. And I took off the next day for Tennessee. It's amazing what kind of difference new tires make from the old ones that have like 70 or 80,000 miles on them. It's a good trip to Tennessee. Wanted to run a camera for Bunger for our entire visit, and the people at Butler Performance are super nice people. I'm pretty sure they treat everybody the way they treated us. I had free run of the shop. I could stop a guy at a machine and talk to him about what was going on and poke the camera in their face if they didn't mind. Saw some of Big Chief's builds, which is pretty sweet. Not that I only vaguely know who Big Chief is. Big old helicopter flying over. It's a big boy helicopter, I can feel it. There we go. It's my Bourgeoise lunch. This is just butter. It's sitting out here. And I put in some pepper. A bunch of big helicopters. Yowza. I wish I could see them. UH-60s probably. They're 4-bladers for sure. Not the big 6 blades, and then not the big tandem rotor. Basically compound butter, dill, and just pepper. You should use fresh ground pepper. Don't use that stuff out of the shaker. Yeah, use what you want. It took longer than I expected. Let's see how I did. That's done. Not bad. Not bad. I put a little too much dill in the compound. Be alright though. Be alright. Asparagus, the cayenne. Anyway, I'm gonna stuff the rest of this in my pie hole real quick. Enjoy the almost too warm day, but got shade. Be alright. See you guys next time.